Good. Well, good afternoon and welcome everyone. I'm Lauren Hickey. I'm the Reeve of Lethbridge County. Joining me today at the podium is the Honorable Jason Nixon, Minister of Environment and Parks, Nathan Neudorf, the MLA for Lethbridge East, Grant Hunter, MLA for Tabor-Warner, Steve McDonald, CEO of Emissions Reductions Alberta, and George Wadsworth, CEO of Canary Biofuels. It is with great pleasure to be here today as we announce the exciting new renewable fuels facility that will support good-paying Lethbridge jobs, reduce emissions, and bring more initiative and technology to this thriving area. Our county is known for its tremendous agricultural production, which is the driving force behind our local economy. Our industry goes beyond cattle and crops. We're also privileged to have a strong labor force, which is very well educated. We have the opportunity to have a university here and a college. And the increasing number of businesses incorporating innovation and technology into their operations is relying heavily upon those graduates from those facilities. We are very excited about the potential to expand our industrial base and explore new opportunities for economic development and diversifications in the county. And Canary Biofuels is the latest example of a forward-thinking company showing great leadership and contributing to our region's economic and environmental success. Because of our abundance of natural resources, alternative energy development has emerged as a forerunner in our region, and today's biofuels is no exception. We are fortunate that in the face of the pandemic and volatile commodity prices, there are options and emerging opportunities for our farmers and producers to look at new markets. Lethbridge County is perfectly positioned to attract new investors, professionals, and labor force needed to diversify our economy. We are very pleased to celebrate another local project that will help us get there. Maybe one day we'll figure out how to turn the wind down a bit. Thank you again to our speakers and guests for joining us today, and I'd like to invite Nathan Neudorf to come up from Lethbridge East and say a few words. Thank you.
Get this set up because the minister is one of the few taller than me. And thank you for the introduction, Lauren. As Reeve Hickey said, my name is Nathan Neudorf, the MLA for Lethbridge East. It's a pleasure to be here today celebrating a world-class facility that will bring jobs, innovation, investment, and emissions reduction to Lethbridge. Our speakers today will announce funding through the Technology Innovation and Emissions Reduction System, the Emissions Reduction Alberta, that will support economic diversification and emissions reductions right here in Lethbridge. The facility and technology our speakers are sharing with you today will put Lethbridge and Alberta on the map as North American leaders in biofuel production. I'd first like to invite Minister Nixon to the podium now to tell you more about this exciting investment. Minister?
Well, thank you, MLA Neudorf, and thank you to Grant Hunter as well as Lethbridge County for having us here today, and thank you to George and the rest of the team at Canary Biofuels for having us out today at this great facility for an excellent announcement. It's exciting to be here this afternoon celebrating the latest groundbreaking technology that is cutting emissions, getting Albertans back to work, and showcasing Alberta's impressive progress on technology and innovation. I'm pleased to announce that $5 million for the Technology Innovation and Emission Reduction, or the TIER Fund, will help Canary Biofuels make the upgrades needed to create a $28 million renewable fuel facility right here in Lethbridge County. Producing an estimated 70 million liters of renewable fuel annually, this facility will be the first of its kind in Canada with its flagship facility right here in Alberta. It will take local agriculture waste, inedible animal fats, and used cooking oil and turn these into renewable fuel. This facility will have significant economic and environmental benefits for our province. Canary will buy more than $375 million worth of local feedstock from farmers over the next 5 years, generating about $500 million in revenue. This facility will support up to 130 local jobs, getting our construction workers, engineers, lab technicians, and plant operators back to work when it is needed most. Canary's project will also cut around 224,000 tons of emissions each year, the same as electricity emissions for roughly 37,000 homes. It has almost been a year since Alberta's government announced $750 million from our tier fund for a range of programs that are reducing emissions, diversifying the economy, and getting Albertans back to work. The Canary Biofuels facility is another world-class project being supported through this funding. It has been a real pleasure seeing this investment continue to support Alberta's economic recovery. And I'm happy to be here today celebrating the latest game-changing funding being delivered by our friends at Emissions Reduction Alberta. We're proud to partner with organizations like the ERA that share our province's priorities, supporting innovative technology that will help attract new investment and diversify Alberta's natural resource potential. Thank you to the ERA for your important role in supporting Alberta's environmental and economic goals. TIER continues to show Alberta's national and global leadership on innovation and technology, which are central to reducing emissions and protecting the environment while setting Alberta on a path for economic recovery. Alberta is quickly becoming a hub for pioneering projects like this one that process waste to create more value for key industries like livestock and farming, and I look forward to seeing this facility begin its operations in the fall. So again, congratulations to Canary Biofuels for this exciting project and continue the great work. And with that, I'd like to invite the local MLA for the area, my colleague, Grant Hunter, the MLA for Taber, Warner. I think I got it right, the whole riding, but I do know Grant's name, and we'll invite him up to the podium.
Thank you, Minister Nixon, and thank you to Canary Biofuels for having us here today. It's a pleasure to be here celebrating another agricultural success story in southern Alberta. As great environmental stewards of the land, farmers know that if we take care of the land, it will take care of us and our families. And many farmers know that integrating emission reductions can also help the bottom line. It can even make money. As world leaders in agricultural emissions reductions, Alberta farmers will be key beneficiaries of the renewable diesel produced at this facility. Not only does it have the potential to decrease farm fuel emissions and reduce 224,000 tons of GHG emissions each year, but it also is also expected to buy $375 million worth of local feedstock from local farmers over the next 5 years, as Minister Nixon stated. Projects like this showcase the steps Alberta is taking to diversify the economy with cutting-edge technology and creating local jobs and opportunities. I want to thank Canary Biofuels and Emissions Reductions Alberta and Minister Nixon for this project and for bringing it forward here in this riding. With that, I'd like to invite Steve McDonald to share more about the Partnership Intake Program and how this project came to life. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Grant, for the introduction, and Minister Nixon for inviting me here today to share this exciting news. I'd also like to thank our hosts, Canary Biofuels, and we'll hear more from George Wadsworth, their CEO, very shortly. You know, it's great to be here in Lethbridge. I'm a member of the Kainai Chieftainship, and I get a chance to spend a lot of time down here, so it's great to be back in this area. So transforming our energy systems to create a low emissions future is complex and exciting. It takes time, investment, vision, and leadership to find the best solutions across all sectors that reduce emissions. This project is significant because it allows us to build on Alberta's strengths in agriculture, engineering, and supply chain management of fuels. Modern bioenergy is amongst the world's largest renewable energy source, with a share in final energy consumption that is greater than wind and solar combined. Delivering deep carbon emission reductions requires an unprecedented effort in technology and innovation and diversification. Alongside hydrogen and electricity, biofuels is a critical part of any portfolio of transportation solutions. When ERA first learned about Canary's project, and the opportunity to retrofit a facility that had been shuttered, we could see the enormous economic and environmental potential. As the minister said, this facility will support local jobs and pay local feedstock farmers for what was once considered waste. The opportunity to handle many different types of feedstock in one facility is unique. This new biodiesel supply also means there's less of a reliance on imports and more potential for exports. Canary estimates that near-term biodiesel sales will be primarily in California, but Canary will be very well positioned to increase their share of the growing Alberta biodiesel market in the medium term. Overall, this market is currently estimated at 148 million litres per year. And equally important to ERA is the opportunity to reduce emissions by transforming agricultural waste while increasing our potential to use more renewable, lower emission fuels. But we also know that opportunities like this one don't happen on their own. Government support in the early stages of new technology development is essential. For more than 10 years, ERA has been doing just that by investing the revenues from the carbon price paid by large final emitters to accelerate the development and adoption of innovative clean technology solutions. We've been doing that ever since Alberta became the first jurisdiction in North America to recognize the need for putting a price on carbon. Alberta is leading the way. ERA is proud to be part of this investment in Canary today. This is truly an example of industry, innovators, and government working together to reduce emissions, attract investment, and create jobs. With today's announcement, ERA has now committed $649 million toward 204 projects valued at over $4.5 billion in public and private investment. If successful, these projects will result in cumulative GHG reductions of approximately 35 megatons of CO2 by 2030, or annual reductions of roughly 3.4 million tons annually. Thank you again to Minister Nixon. Without your leadership, there would be no Made in Alberta tier program, and ERA would not be helping to turn emission reduction ambitions into real actions, like today's announcement. Thank you to Canary Biofuels for bringing forward this smart technology solution. And I'd now like to turn it over to George for some closing comments.
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon. I'd like to start off by thanking Minister Nixon and the Alberta government for their attendance, their interest, and their financial support. Through Emissions Reduction Alberta, Canary Biofuels was able to secure a much-needed grant to move this project forward. I would also like to thank MLAs Mr. Neudorf and Mr. Hunter, Reeve Hickey, and ERA CEO Steve McDonald for their attendance and support. In addition, a thank you to industry partners in attendance, RK Hagee, West Coast Reduction, the Canadian Canola Growers Association, and a thank you to all of our financial partners, 8 Capital, Canadian Western Bank, and all of our investors. Canary Biofuels and this facility will be Alberta's first second-generation waste-to-biodiesel facility, employing some of Canada's first-of-its-kind technology in Canada. When complete, the first phase of this facility will abate upwards of 240,000 metric tons of CO2 annually by producing 70 million liters per year of low carbon intensity biodiesel. Biodiesel is an excellent fuel to blend with traditional base diesel, as it has 1/3 of the carbon intensity and helps decarbonize the transportation sector quickly. To produce this fuel, Canary will work with agriculture to procure significant volumes of non-food grade feedstock that creates additional value for farmers and ranchers. Building out the renewables fuel space in Alberta creates new high-quality jobs, bridges agriculture with the energy space, and helps Alberta on its path to becoming carbon neutral. Canary is excited to lead this path in the new circular economy. The continued support from both provincial and federal governments, financially as well as aligned policy, amplifies and accelerates Canary as well as the entire renewables industry. This support will allow Canary and industry to continue to expand, create further economic prosperity for the province, while helping Alberta and Canada achieve its climate policies. So thank you very much for your time and attendance. I'd like to hand the podium back over to Mr. Neudorf for the final closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, George, and thank you to our speakers and guests for joining us for today's announcement. This truly is a celebration of ingenuity, collaboration, and using innovative technology to diversify our economy, protect our environment, and getting Albertans back to work. I'd like to just make a personal comment that I had the good fortune of working on this project when it was first built, and I'm just very proud that we're able to welcome back Canary and that they can repurpose this to greater lengths than was initially expected. And it's great to see that the initial investment is being put to use. And with that, I will wrap up today's remarks. Today's speakers and several local farmers are also here, and producers as well, that are now available for any one-on-one interviews. Thank you again, and I believe we'll use this podium to answer questions if the media has any at this point in time. Question?
Yes, I have a question for George. Can you just talk about what exactly is being done as far as any additions, expansions, anything like that in this facility?
Sure. So this facility was originally built to be able to process vegetable-grade canola oil into biodiesel. That makes it very difficult to be financially sustainable as food prices are really expensive. It's a higher carbon intensity value to vegetable based biodiesel. So what we're doing at the facility is we're upgrading the facility so we can handle all different types of feedstocks, including used cooking oil, off-grade types of canola oil, animal fats from renderers, distillers corn oil that comes out of the ethanol refineries. So we're adding a chemical train, a distillation column, and some unique technology in the middle that helps allow us to have a really high efficiency in terms of taking all that feedstock and converting it into biodiesel and glycerin.
And when do you hope to have all of this completed?
By mid-October.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if there are any more questions, there's a microphone over in the back.
I could just yell.
Yeah, go for it. I can hear you.
You know what? It's probably easier too. 'Cause you're tall. I'm gonna have to reach right now.
Perfect. Let's do that. I can hear you fine.
All right, sounds good. Sorry about that.
We'll wait till you get the tripod set up for
Yeah,
mixing
sounds
level,
good.
and then we can go from there. Awesome.
I know. Or late rather in 2019, there were some calls from canola producers to up the biodiesel levels in traditional diesel fuel from 2% to 5%. And I'm just wondering if that is still a discussion or if that's a discussion that you're having and how today's announcement might change that discussion in any way.
Well, I don't think today's announcement changes that discussion in any way, but you are correct. That discussion's active. It's been active for a long time, not only in the province of Alberta, but across the country, frankly, across North America. Minister Dreesch and I continue to have conversations about what the best path forward is for Alberta and for producers, but as well as for our fuel markets. A lot of the questions that we have to answer from a public policy perspective on that had to wait until the federal government laid out their climate change plans. And as we're seeing those unfold, we can now go back and have another look at that and check out what our policies are going forward. We are going to continue, though, in the province of Alberta to be focused on helping to develop a new technology, focused on supporting our innovators with projects like this to find ways forward to manage emissions while still making things affordable for everyday Albertans. And so, from our perspective of the Alberta government, the way forward on this is technology and innovation, supporting great companies like Canary, and making sure that we're not punishing hockey moms and hockey dads as they get their kids to hockey practice. And so that's the balance that we'll try to find. But certainly Minister Dreesch and I will be having some conversations in the coming months with stakeholders on that issue.
Just one more follow-up, I guess, then. Obviously, tough couple of years for canola producers with everything going on with regards to China and trade and everything. But how important are announcements like these to diversify, I guess, the market availability for canola producers?
Well, I think announcements like this are critical. And again, on a year, not just on the international trade issues that we've seen in our country that you mentioned, but a tough year for drought right now across our province as we try to support our farmers. But having an announcement like this today where you're going to see $375 million worth of feedstock being bought from local farmers, primarily, frankly, on feedstock that did not have large value previous to being able to be sold to a facility like Canary, I think is critical for producers. I'm sure if you get a few moments to talk to some of the producers here, they'll emphasize that. So we're excited about opportunities like that as we work to manage emissions in our province, trying to find other ways that we can support other industries while we work our way through how Alberta will manage climate change in the years to come. Yep. Sure. He's going to have to adjust the mic.
Really? Yes. Yeah, I know, for us short people. Yeah.
Can you kind of just reiterate, what it means to have this project in Lethbridge County? It was mentioned that this is the first of its kind in Canada. With everything going on in agriculture and struggles that producers deal with as well, the importance of having this project in your county.
Well, I think there's three big things. It's really good for the job market. I mean, it's going to produce the equivalent of 135 jobs, I believe he said. And for producers, sometimes you get if you get any frost on canola, it's not a marketable commodity as a food grade substance, so that'd be great for this. And there's also lots of production of camelina now. So that will also maybe qualify as a feedstock. But overall, to the county, it's just a positive thing. It's just great to have another industry come in and one that also reduces the emissions. So hopefully these products could be used in farm machinery and help all over. I mean, anytime you could reduce emissions, that's the way to go. But for all of us, it's just a great benefit. Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone.